Hi everyone, today I wanted to do a video on talking about wages and tuition, putting a little bit more focus on wages for teachers. So obviously as a recruiter, I see a lot of different types of wages. I work with a lot of programs. I kind of see the changes as time goes on. The first thing I'm gonna ask you or tell people is, if you were a teacher, would you work for the wages that you have right now? And then when you really think about it that way, it really puts it into perspective, right? Because, you got to think about it. Would you? And if you're starting out at $13, $14 an hour with somebody who has no experience, it's just not a livable wage anymore. It's just not. We are beyond that. And so the average starting wage right now, and that's with nobody with no experience, no certifications, is $15 an hour. And that is the average right now. That's what everybody is doing. So if you're not at that, you really should be at that. And then what you tell candidates, and what I also tell candidates, is that they can make more. They just have to earn it. They have to get the experience, get their certifications done if your state requires it. I know here in Wisconsin, everybody has to be certified. And so, because we want people to know that this is more of a career and they do have to work their way up. And that's one thing I do tell people when I'm doing interviews, is that they have to work their way up. So, and especially if they don't have anything at all. Obviously there's certain things that you can take into consideration if they have, a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree. Even if it's not in the field, you really should be taking that into consideration. The other thing I tell people too, or candidates too, is that if they are leaving a job making, let's say, $19, $20 an hour, they are taking a risk of leaving that job and losing that wage, because they can't expect to leave that job and then make that same amount somewhere else. A lot of them don't understand that, but it's the truth. Like, you can't just, you're taking a risk of losing a job, especially if you're making a higher wage. You're probably going to lose it. So they need to start fresh, kind of somewhere else. And obviously you're not going to start at 15, but you might start them at, let's just say, 17 or 18, and they also have to earn their seniority up, right? And then of course the tuition plays a huge part of it. You should really be getting in the habit of increasing your tuition every single year, and it should be the same time every single year, so that way your parents just know what to expect. What I did was, I got to a certain dollar point that I wanted to be at for tuition. And then every year after that, I would just increase it by $5 or $10. So it wasn't huge increases. Like, I'm not talking about doing $20, $40 every year. Just something very simple, just to keep up with the changes that occur in the society. Like, everything is increasing in cost, so you have to keep up with that as a business as well. So, so those are two very important things to consider and look at if you feel like you, need to make some changes. Because honestly, the better you're paying people, the better candidates you're gonna get. I've definitely worked with some centers that are not paying the greatest. And the candidates went elsewhere because they just weren't getting paid what they really deserved to get paid. So, and these were people that did have experience in the field, and they did have their certification. So, so totally look at that. And I'm obviously doing this video because I want people to know that's where it's at. And, because I obviously see the changes at, just doing what I'm doing. I see a lot of that. So, I would kind of look at redoing your pay scale and trying to figure out something, a more consistent schedule with, tuition increases. And another thing with tuition, like, don't worry about parents getting mad. Just, you can't worry about that. But if you get it into a routine where you're just doing it every year, and they can see that you're just doing $5, $10 a day, they're not gonna get mad. Like, it's just all about routine and having those expectations for your staff and parents. So, if anyone has any questions about that, please reach out. More than happy to help. But like I said, I wanted to do this video just to share that information with everybody. Highly recommend $15 starting, and definitely increasing your tuition each year. I appreciate you listening, and please reach out if you have any questions.